Welcome to the Streamline to Scale podcast, where we help online business owners just like you go from 6 to 7 figures with ease. I'm Erin Persinger, and after years of working with companies to achieve sustainable growth, I've learned that the key to success lies in simplicity. Tune in to the Streamline to Scale podcast, where we're turning business dreams into reality. Hey, welcome back to the Streamline to Scale podcast. I'm Erin Persinger, CEO of Premier Virtual Operations, and I'm super excited that you're here with me today. Today, we are going to talk about cultivating a high-performing team in an online business. Now, before we jump into our topic today, because you guys know I don't like to waste time, I want to start first by saying that this applies regardless if you are building a team from scratch or if you already had a team in place. So don't skip this episode if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have a team yet, so this isn't going to apply to me, or I already have a team, so I don't need to know about building a high-performing team. Either way, if you have a team or you're getting ready to build a team, we can all work towards further cultivation of our high-performing team, right? If you're building a team from scratch, then you can start to implement this right away. Or if you have a team, then your team will be all the better for you following the tips I'm about to give you. So first, let's start by what exactly does cultivating mean? When we think about cultivating, we often think about a garden, right? Plants, that kind of thing. I will tell you that I have the black thumb of death. So plants, my house is where plants come to die unless my husband takes over and takes care of them. So when I use gardening analogies, people who know me in real life are going to laugh at this. But when we think of cultivating, we kind of always think of cultivating a plant. But cultivating is really the act of nurturing, developing, encouraging growth in something, right? So have you ever seen someone with a lovely garden, right? My dad loves to garden. So a few years ago, he set up this amazing garden with a beautiful greenhouse. It had all the things, the irrigation system, the raised beds. It was just an immaculate garden. He put tons of effort into it. He selected the seeds. He set up the irrigation. They did the things that the flaps on the doors, so the wind and the animals and all the things. And then at the end of the growing season, he had a beautiful garden full of fruits, veggies, things that they could really eat on for an entire year. And that's what a gardener does. They cultivate and they really nourish and pour themselves into their gardens so they reap the long-term rewards. A high-performing team is really a lot like a garden. It doesn't grow overnight, but with the right conditions and care, it can definitely flourish. So there's some results of a high-performing team that's been cultivated that we can see, such as enhanced productivity. You'll have happier team members and a better quality of work. So then that provides a trickle-down effect on our whole entire business, right? If you have happy team members who are productive with high-quality work, then what else will you see? You'll see things like improved customer satisfaction, your revenue will increase, the long-term stability of your business will increase because you don't have the team turnover and things that people who have not spent the time cultivating or growing or pouring into their team will have. So this is why this is such an important function of an online business. And it's one that I see overlooked so many times. So often people will build teams and then they'll neglect the team and it becomes like that garden that's full of weeds that you look at like you don't want to live near that person because the entire place is grown up with weeds, right? So that's what we get when we don't pour nourishment into our teams. It can be the same thing. So today we're going to talk about 5 things you can do to cultivate your high-performing team. Whether you are starting a team from scratch or you already have a team, these will be applicable to you in your business. So let's jump right in. Step number 1, you're going to have the right people for your high-performing team. So I always say the right people in the right seats. So if you don't have a team, obviously this means that you're going to vet people thoroughly. You're going to hire focusing on their values fit first and then their skill set second. And all those things you can find. My other episodes, I go into great detail about how to hire a good team member. If you do have a team member now, what do you do to ensure you have the right people? You want to make sure that these are the right people in the right seats. And so that's the tricky part for someone that already has a team. You may have amazing people, but they're in the wrong seats. or you have not untapped all of their potential yet. So those are two things you want to look at if you already have a team. So you want to look at, is this person functioning at the best capacity in this position? And how can I utilize them more than what I am and make them happier, make them more likely to want to stick around and more willing to grow with this business? Okay, so that's the first one. I'm not going to go into too much detail into that because if you look at my other episodes, you can see tons of information about putting the right people in the right seats. But the second thing you want to do is to inspire your team. And a good leader is always looking for ways to inspire their team. So a couple ways you can do that. First, you want to set clear goals together, clear and compelling goals. Now, that can be personal goals for your team members to accomplish, or that can be business-wide goals. So it may look like a personal goal for your team member is they want to learn a new tech tool, and we set a date, right? You're going to learn Active Campaign by the end of the month. So that could be like a personal goal for your team member. But you also have those long-term business goals. We see those a lot, right? Q1, you're going to meet X amount of dollars. We're going to bring on X number of people. We're going to expand into this market. We want our reach to increase by XYZ. Those are all those goals that you can work together for at the team level. It's important to get your team involved in those goals because really when they understand the mission behind what you're trying to do, your team just gives more and they are focused on what really where you're trying to drive the ship to. So they know where everyone's going together. They feel like a bigger part of the team when they're involved in creating those goals and when they're clear and transparent goals as well. The next way we inspire our team is we acknowledge and celebrate their success. So we're going to celebrate those individual team members, the things they do. This is not an I society, right? It's a we society. You're going to work to give recognition where recognition is due. You're going to give credit where credit is due. You're going to celebrate the wins of your team members, big, small, whatever it is. You'll boost morale and you motivate your team members if you give recognition. You also want to provide opportunities for growth. That's another way you can inspire your team by providing opportunities to expand their knowledge, expand their skill sets. This shows you that you believe in them and you're ready and willing to invest in them so that you can move your business to the next level with them. And then we want to empower our team. I say this a lot. People don't want to give their team opportunities to be empowered, but they want them to be decision makers. If you want a team member that's a decision maker, you have to make them comfortable with the fact that they're allowed to make decisions in your business. You have to create an environment where everyone's input is received, acknowledged, and accepted as an action, taken into consideration as an action into the business. So first, you have chosen the right people for the right seats. You've chosen the people for your high-performing team. Next, you've inspired that team. And the third thing is that you want to manage your team effectively. Now, why is managing your team effectively important? Because even if the best team is crazy inspired, they're ready to go, they're ready to move towards your goals, they will end up quickly frustrated if you do not manage them effectively. So I can't ever emphasize the importance of good management in your team. It's the difference between you getting work done and things failing. It's how you lose very good team members quickly because of poor management. And I see this all the time. I see team turnovers high because of a management problem, not necessarily because of a team problem. People come to me with what they think is a people problem when it's really a management problem. So some ways you want to manage your team effectively, you want to establish clear communication. This is extremely important with a remote team. It's essential that you establish clear and consistent communication so that everyone knows where you're going to communicate, how you're going to communicate, and you stay connected and in touch. I love regularly scheduled meetings. In my team, we do them once a week. In your team, you may do them every other week. I have clients that it works really well for them to do team meetings every other week. I have other clients that only meet with the full team once a month, and then they have smaller team meetings weekly. You can do whatever works best for your business and figure out what that looks like for you. But it's important that you do regular communication and that everyone knows exactly when this communication is going to take place, how it's going to take place, and what they can expect during the communication. Also, if you set simple systems and processes so that each person of the team understands their roles, their responsibilities, what they're supposed to do, and you can use a project management tool to track all that to keep everything transparent. Everybody knows what is happening and what's expected of them. So that's good management of your team. So we've established clear communications and you've set simple systems and processes. These two things will lead you so much further along in the effective management of your team. It will let your team feel like they're taken care of, and they'll be much happier showing up to work each day, knowing that they're not going to be micromanaged, that they're not going to be left in the dark with things, that they're going to understand your team has the consistency so they understand where, when, and how to communicate and what their roles and responsibilities are. No one likes to be left in the dark. So those are some things we can do to manage your team effectively. So we have put the right people in the right seats. We have inspired them. We have learned to manage them correctly. And now we're going to maximize their productivity. So a couple ways you can maximize productivity. And one we love is weekly reporting. Now, reporting of any kind is good. In the beginning, when we initially hire new talent for teams, we do daily reporting just to keep up to date on everything. And then we switch over to weekly reporting. Now, why is that important? It's important because if you are not doing weekly reporting, things can go a really long time and be forgotten. Mistakes can be made and you haven't checked in frequently enough, and you're really losing time because maybe they're waiting on an answer for you. Maybe they've done things incorrectly. There's all these things that could happen if you don't check in frequently. And we don't want those things to go longer than they need to because we want to patch the hole quickly, so to speak. We have a couple different ways that we do weekly reporting. We always leave a place for questions, concerns, what they plan on working on the next week. So we have like a whole thing that we do weekly reporting. All the teams, private clients as well as coaching clients, get access to those weekly reporting sheets. And we've just found they're really game changers as far as productivity goes. Next thing, as far as productivity, is you want to create an environment for asking questions and the questions that receive regular feedback. So that's another place that people can, or that team members can really be held up, is because if they need to answer the question before they move on, you're not available, you don't give timely feedback, then it holds up productivity of the whole team and you become the bottleneck. And then you want to also, again, provide continual training. I emphasize that throughout because it's really important when you're trying to cultivate a high-performing team that you continually train them so they're most efficient in their job. They're the most productive they can be. If there's a new piece of tech that will make things more productive, AI is changing the landscape so fast every day. If there's a piece of tech or a tool that they can use to make them more productive, then by all means, you want to find that. You want to train them on that as quickly as possible, implement it in your business because that just saves you time in the long run. So after you have maximized the productivity, then the last thing really is for you to embrace your role as a leader. Now, this is where it gets a little ouch for us business owners, right? Because we have amazing team members. We know how to manage them. They're inspired. They're at top productivity. So really what holds us up now? Well, it's us usually. That's the cold hard truth, is it's usually we hold on a little too tightly to things that we should be letting go of. What the goal is when you become a leader in your team, you have to become a master delegator. You can't hold on to things that you should be letting go of. So I always recommend to everyone to put a Post-it note on your laptop, on your computer, wherever you work the most, with the words, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? And you should ask yourself throughout the day, are you getting lost down a hole of emails? Should you be doing this? Is it good use of your time? If you were to apply your hourly rate to this task, would it shock you or would it make you happy that you're doing it? Is it worth your time to do this, or should you be delegating it? You also have to show up for your team. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and give your team first priority. You have to understand your team is an extension of you. We all want to make our clients happy, but by giving our team first priority, that trickles down, again, like we said earlier, to the clients. So for me, I wake up every morning the very first thing I do is check for messages from my team. The faster I can get them up to speed is the more productivity we have. That makes me a better leader. They know they're not going to wait on me because they understand that when they send a message, I'm going to respond at certain times. Now, do I stay tied to my communication devices all day? I do not. But they know first thing, they can pretty much tell you when I wake up every morning that I'm going to answer these messages and I'm going to be available at this time for a weekly meeting. And if they haven't received approval by a certain time, then hey, she's forgotten. We need to reach back out and ask her. So my team knows exactly what to expect and they know they're my first priority. I also try to encourage a healthy work-life balance for your team and do that for yourself. You want to lead by example here. So don't work yourself into the ground. Don't work your team into the ground. Nobody wants to work all weekend. You shouldn't be working all weekend. Shouldn't have your team working all weekend. So you want to really embrace your role as a leader, make sure they have a healthy work-life balance because that will keep team members longer. That will cultivate growth. They will be excited to show up for you every day because it's a great place to work. There you have it. We've talked about 5 things that you can do to cultivate a high-performing team in your online business. So we want to choose the right people for the right seats. You want to inspire your team, manage them effectively, maximize their productivity, and then embrace your role as a leader. So as an action step for the week, I want you to really analyze each one of these steps and see where you can be more consistent in showing up as a leader. Or if you haven't built your team yet, I want you to take these 5 pieces of information into consideration. Look at, hey, where could I start from the beginning with building my team? Maybe you set up a communication guide. That's a great place to start. Just make some standard rough draft ideas of how you're going to communicate with your team, what they can expect for you as far as communication and a good platform for communication. Those are really great places to start if you haven't hired yet. So those are your action steps for today, whether you have a team or you're getting ready to build a team. Really look at these 5 steps, see where you can evolve your business and see what you can set up now for the future if you have not yet built a team. So that's all we have for you this week. Again, I'm Erin Persinger, CEO of Premier Virtual Operations. If you need help cultivating your high-performing team, please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. And as always, if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with a friend. We're always looking for new people in our world. And you guys have a great week, and I'll see you back next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Streamline to Scale podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights on scaling and streamlining your business. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, growing your online business can be easy. By focusing on developing lean, effective teams, creating simple systems, and implementing smart business practices, you can take your business to the next level. And if you're ready to take action and start growing your business today, head over to our website at premiervirtualoperations.com to learn more about our services and how we can help you reach your business goals. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Streamline to Scale.